Good afternoon, viewers. Good afternoon, listeners, and welcome to the Command Center here at the studios of NTN GIS. This afternoon, we bring you another very special interview in light of everything that's happening around us with regards to the COVID-19 and St. Lucia's response. We're joined in studio this afternoon by Natasha Lloyd-Felix, who is the Director of the Bureau of Health Education, Ministry of Health and Wellness. We also have with us His Excellency Ronald Hinkson, St. Lucia's Goodwill Ambassador, musician, producer, and composer. And we're going to be discussing a very special song that has been put together, a COVID-19 response campaign song, which has been put together by the Department of Health and Wellness as well as the CDF. But before that, we're going to speak to Ms. Lloyd-Felix about her role as the Director at the Bureau of Health Education. What is the general role of the Bureau of Health Education?
Within the Ministry of Health, our mandate is to look at ensuring that our population and its various segments are fully knowledgeable of key health issues, not only to have information, but to be able to act on that information in a way that protects their health and promotes their overall wellness. So we tend to do a lot of interventions at schools, workplaces, in communities, and in wellness sites, health sites, where we address a lot of our prevalent issues. Many of it is chronic disease related or infectious diseases, and we try our best to have persons in a position where they are better able to take control and manage their health and wellness. It's really a person-centered approach. We know traditionally health seemed to have been very paternalistic, very much that it was done from the top bottom. But our role is to have a synergy, a bridging of the individual with their wellness and their wellness providers.
Now, specific to the COVID-19 response, what has been the specific role of the Bureau?
So, in the beginning, I'm sure you would be aware that there were so many myths and misconceptions and rumors. And at that point, we found that the public wasn't really listening or tuning into the facts and getting information. There was a lot of block that existed because of those rumors and misconceptions. So our role initially was to try to dismantle that, to address those gaps in knowledge, and to help persons wrap their minds around COVID, because it was something new. It seemed very mysterious, and anything associated with death comes with some degree of panic and fear. So we started off addressing that, and as we were able to create some degree of calm and focus, we started looking at targeted interventions. COVID presents risks to certain segments of our population, and in St. Lucia, it would be the elderly, it would be persons living with chronic conditions. Now, in Asia, where it started in China, these two were the same. The elderly were the persons living with chronic conditions. But our reality is very different. Our younger segments live with diabetes, hypertension, cancer, and these are not elderly persons. So we were very deliberate to ensure we targeted both of these segments, as well as children and the carers of children. Not that children have a particular risk per se as it relates to the complications, but children can get COVID as with any one of us. But the fact that they recover well, but interact in a family is the risk. In many families in St. Lucia, culturally, we have older family members present, be it an older grandparent or an aunt or community where people live in close proximity. So those children go back into the communities, back into families, could be ill, and could pass that on to family members who would be the at-risk grouping. So we were very deliberate to reach these segments to ensure that they were able to address many of the gaps in the habits. The habits of infection control, be it hand washing, and they may seem like simple habits, but really and truly, there were many gaps. Hand washing, cough etiquette, sanitizing your environment. And we did a lot of work on that level. We also did a lot of mass media communication. So those two things happened simultaneously. Work on the ground that was targeted, but mass media engagement, so that we created that level of awareness and we galvanized support. We wanted that support to be island-wide, and we wanted to ensure that that level of knowledge crossed all gaps, all sectors, all segments.
Speaking about all sectors, all segments, what about your intervention with dissemination of the information in Creole as well?
Well, one of our gaps we realized was the Creole communication. Very early we realized that we tended, especially with COVID being new, to communicate a lot in the English language. So increasingly, we have tried our best to work on that gap, especially as it related to our communication products, our public service announcements. But mind that you would say Creole, another gap we recognized too was reaching persons with disabilities. So currently we have just completed a few products for television where we have inserted an in-caption part that has sign-in on it, so that persons who may have that limitation, we can still reach them and they too can get the message in, because they too are an important segment that needs to be very, very au fait, very much aware of what's happening. So we're trying our best to bridge it. We did recognize, and from feedback from the public, that it was one of the gaps we had, but we're starting to narrow that gap.
Okay, so now specific to why we are here today and talking about different sectors. This is not the first time that you've engaged the creative sector in terms of bringing out your campaign, bringing out your messages. You've always had interventions as well during Carnival time.
Yes.
But let's be specific to this project that we're here to talk about now. How did this all get started?
Well, we know for sure that artists reach the populace in a way that no healthcare provider, no government official can. And we wanted something to create appeal, something that would cause people to catch on. But what was important to us was two things. We wanted the content to be accurate and very action-oriented, very specific actions to be promoted, but we wanted the themes to be one of hope, one of unity, and one that would cause persons to see that they have a purpose and a role to play. And we brought those two things together. We gave the ideas and we handed it over wholly and solely to the artists, and we let them take their literary license and do what they thought was necessary. And we got an awesome product back.
At this point, I think we'll bring in Honorable Hinkson to tell us about a little more about the project. Boo, just take me through the process when you were invited to be a part of this project.
Well, here's what. I sit on the CDF board, and at our last meeting, I just threw out this idea that maybe we should get some artists together and do a track that that can tell the public, the solution public, what exactly is to be done so that we can protect each other. But I also knew that we didn't want people to live in fear, so to speak. We wanted people to be cautious, to be aware of what is best to do health-wise, to avoid contracting this COVID-19. So I had to write a song in a particular way to give people hope that we can fight this thing as a nation, but also to keep people being cautious about the whole approach to this. And so I threw out the idea to CDF and said, oh yeah, well, that's a good idea. Our chair, who is Janine Jury McIntyre, said that's a brilliant idea, and the rest of the board made a contribution. And so I just went on and I wrote. And subsequent to that, our chair said to us, we must collaborate with the Bureau of Health Education, because they have to take the lead on this. So they sent us some pointers. And lo and behold, Natasha will see that when we worked through what they sent, everything was already in the song, because I mean, everybody had heard so much about what is to be done already.
So it shows that Natasha has been doing a great job. She and her team in terms of educating the populace.
Either that, or I must be psychic. So everything was already in the song. When she eventually heard what I did, she said, "But that's exactly what it was." So it was a pretty easy process, and writing that kind of thing is pretty easy. It's not something you have to conjure up some big set of story in your head. It's you know what is to be said. So you just put it in song. It's not I'm not a rocket scientist. That kind of thing, anybody can write that.
Right.
So, but what I did specifically is I thought of the guys who I just called and said, listen, come, let's do this. And who would agree right away. And I wrote the song with these guys in mind. So when they came in, when I gave them the parts to do, everything just fell in place like a jigsaw, you know. Because I didn't want a situation where I'd be working with people who stylistically not into the melodic structure of the song, you know. So I deliberately wrote it for the voices I had in mind. Because if you notice at the end of the song, that's where Mishak is.
Right.
And it sounds very much like Mishak's style.
Yes, yes.
And the beginning of the song where Teddy is there, Teddy can sing just about any style, yeah? Because that's how good he is. But when you hear that opening, it sounds pretty much like something Teddy would do if he wasn't doing soca.
Right, right.
And that is how I just built the whole thing.
Okay.
And at the end, I have a female voice because I wanted the intensity at the end. I wanted to take it up to a question, and that's why I put the female voice where the pitch of the song is highest.
Well, let me just inform our viewers and listeners about the song. It's a COVID-19 response campaign song. It features Teddy St. John, Warner Semi Francis, Taj Weeks, Michael Robinson, Mishak, Jennifer St. Louis, Krista Bailey. It was written by Ronald Hinkson, produced by Ronald Hinkson, and Mariah St. Louis, and it was mixed and mastered by Mariah St. Louis. Now, in keeping with what we were trying to practice here, the social distancing, how were you able to, how difficult, how easy was it to produce such a track without having 6, 7, 8 people in your studio all at once?
Well, I was insistent about not having everybody in my studio at one time because, you know, that could be a little worrying, you know. So what I did was I recorded the song and sent everybody a copy of it. I did a demo, sent everybody, and told them what lines I wanted them to learn. And we did it in different studios and sent it back to me. The thing about working like that is when you get that, sometimes you have a lot of editing to do because it has to seem like one seamless thing, you know. The sound must be the same. It mustn't sound like one guy did that thing this place, one did it that place. When you get it, you will get it like that. But you have to determine how you're going to make this sound like something that was done all in the same place. So the different parts were done in different studios and just sent to me via email, and we just worked with it.
We'll speak more about the song in a minute, but I just want you to tell me, Bo, this is something we're all in this fight.
Absolutely.
How much more, what more do you think our creatives can do in terms of spreading the message? Natasha spoke about the different sectors, getting the message across to all communities. How much more can creatives do to get the message out there?
There's a lot more that can be done. There can be a lot more collaborations of that nature that the other artists can do, because every artist has a certain following, you know. So the more of it we do, the bigger the part of the populace that we reach. So, and then we all do different musical genres. So what I did will reach a certain part of the citizenry, and the guys from the new segment are going to do one. The only stipulation is that the lyrics for the English one have been translated into Creole by the Folk Research Center, so that we have some kind of consistency in the message. We can't be changing the message. So that will reach a different audience, you know, and so then we probably should do something with some school children, you know, a younger generation, so that they can appeal to their peers, you know. So there's an awful lot we can do, and what I plan to do also, because I kind of have a lot of time on my hands now, what I plan to do is to do some video clips, performance stuff that I wouldn't normally do on a concert, you know, some really commercial stuff that people like to hear, and do some clips of these, and in these do some messages, some PSAs.
Right.
During these performances that I'm going to start to record them maybe when I get home today. And so if I play a song like I don't know, some popular thing that I wouldn't normally do in a big concert, because people love these things, you know. Not everybody wants to hear what I do at my concerts all the time. So I'm going to do some of these video clips, and each of them I'm going to deliver a different message to do with COVID-19, and I will definitely clarify all of these with the BHE, with the Bureau of Health Education before I do that.
Okay. Now, obviously, this COVID-19 pandemic is negatively impacting all of us, and our creatives are not spared. Hotels where many of you guys perform shut down. Concerts, festivals, everything like that is in the air. What sort of conversations have you been having, particularly with your colleagues, as well as being a member of the board of CDF? What have the conversations been like with regards to the impact this is having on the creatives?
Well, the conversation with the guys, the conversation hasn't been more than just, boy, this is a rough time for everybody, and what is more worrying is that there's no indication, there's no definitive time or month or week that this is going to end. So the guys are pretty paranoid, you know. At our board level, we just can express concern, but that's about all we can do, you know. From my own personal situation is that all my hotel performances have stopped, and I cancelled. I had to do Trinidad, that's cancelled. I cancelled Toronto. I had to do Toronto with Eric Diaries that I brought down for my last concert, and I cancelled England in May. So all that is down the drain. So it's a worrying time for all of us, not just the artists, for anybody in business, you know. This is our business. But we mustn't give up hope, man. You know, we can fight this together.
Definitely.
What we must not do is just sit in despair and just throw in the towel. We can't, because we need to be focused on fighting this thing and doing what is to be done for the sake of everybody. What I do can determine whether or not I stay alive and the other person stays alive. So this is not something to fool around with. This is something else that has to be taken very, very, very seriously, you know.
Most
So
definitely.
we must not be overcome by fear.
Most definitely. At this point, we're due for a break. When we come back, we'll be joined by one of the artists featured on the song, who's winner, Semi Francis. Stay tuned.
So anything.
Personal risk reduction is important. Germs are everywhere, and you can reduce your risk of infection by practicing some basic infection control measures. Taking the stairs, avoid touching the railing. If taking the elevator, ensure you use hand sanitizer immediately after exiting the elevator. Hand sanitizers with 60% or more alcohol are great to use, so have some readily available on your desk for quick use. Have your own personal bottle to carry with you when away from running water and soap. Germs can spread easily and be anywhere. Be sure to wipe down or disinfect desks, telephones, and keyboards. Washing your hands often will reduce the spread of germs, but you must wash them as recommended. Masks and gloves serve a purpose and provide protection when used in the recommended settings and when used correctly. They are not practical for the office or business place and can lead to the further spread of germs when used badly. Use only if you are coughing and or sneezing or taking care of someone who is ill with flu-like symptoms. For more information, call the Ministry of Health and Wellness at 468-5347, 468-5349, or 468-5350.
And we're back here at the command center at the studios of NTN GIS, and we're discussing the song Together We Can Win This War. It's a COVID-19 response campaign song. It's a collaborative effort between the CDF and the Ministry of Health. And we're now joined by one of the artists featured on the song. The song, of course, features Teddyson John, Semi Francis, Taj Weeks, Michael Robinson, Mishak, Jennifer St. Louis, and Krista Bailey. And from my understanding, it's already been furnished to all radio stations on island, and we have a video in the making that there should be a video out pretty soon. So do look out for that. Everyone playing their part in getting the message out. And earlier on, we spoke to Natasha Lloyd from the Bureau of Health Education, giving us some information as to the role they've been playing, getting the information out both in English, in Creole, using PSAs, using flyers. A few weeks ago, they engaged members of the media at a workshop as to how we could all join in fighting this battle with regards to COVID-19. So Boo, let's just get back to Boo for a minute there to talk about, the song. And maybe my question could be now, why the genre of reggae? Why did you decide to go with reggae as opposed to probably jazz or pop or R&B or soca? You could have chosen any genre, because we know that you've done songs in every conceivable genre.
Well, here's what. Jazz has a niche market, very small niche market. So if I had done something with the jazz field, it wouldn't be that mass appeal. And that is not exactly what we're looking for, And then I often find, in my mind, music, different people consume music in different ways. So different musical forms have a different function in society. And so like Calypso was music that people listened to a lot, because Calypso spoke of the issues of the society. So people had a tendency to listen to Calypso a lot, even if they dance, but they listened to the lyrics a lot. Soca is a music that people don't really listen to lyrics. People just dance and party to soca and so on. It's and also, if you do music at a certain tempo, it begins to have a different appeal. Psychologically and emotionally, it does a different thing to you. So I decided that, listen, the best thing for me to do is, with this thing, is reggae. Because reggae, the reason why Bob Marley is still what he is today is because what he wrote in his reggae music. If Bob Marley was singing soca and singing what he sang, it wouldn't have lasted. I don't think it would have lasted as long. It wouldn't have enjoyed that longevity. So reggae has always been a music that carries a message. You go back to all the Mutabaruka, you go back to Steel Pulse, you go back to all these older guys. That was the genesis of reggae, about singing about the issues and what would have an impact on the minds of the people. Reggae was a very influential music during apartheid, and that was part of the battle. And so I thought reggae might be the best music to use to convey that message. But also, what is important is the tempo. If you do too slow, it can sound like it can lose appeal. And if I do too fast, emotionally I'd lose what I'm looking for. So the tempo has to be just right. So I paid a lot of attention to that before I did what I did there.
That's a good.
And then also, what is crucial is the hook.
Right.
If you're doing that kind of stuff, it is crucial that you have a good hook. You want people to remember the most powerful part of your message, and the most powerful part is that we can fight this together as a nation. So let us each be a soldier for our country.
And the voice on that hook also really.
Well, all that was very deliberate, because Mishak has that thing in his voice. You can hear it in his voice. So I constructed the melody for Mishak.
And that's a good point, a good time to bring in Semi Francis, reggae lover, reggae singer.
Yeah.
Is that your favorite genre?
That's my favorite genre, man.
So tell me a bit, when you got the call from Boo, just tell me about the conversation.
Well,
Don't leave out the juicy part. Huh?
Well, you see, the thing, I've been working with Boo for over 10 years now. And the thing with Boo, he would call me about a gig or something and say, Sammy, don't forget the gig tonight. The gig he never told me about. so you know, I've learned over the years, you know.
So you call you about a song and he didn't have a song yet?
You know, he just calls me and say, well, I'll say, okay, whatever. I'm doing this. I'll be there in the next half hour. You know, and just, you know. But he sent me the song and I did what I had to do because I have my own recording studio.
Right.
So I learned the part, did my part, and, you know, basically, you know, we took it from there.
What Sam is trying to tell you there, right? Is that something I also want to record, come on, or maybe Sammy or Ace or somebody.
He would call you and, I mean, he would call you and say, well, so I said, well, do you have the song yet? No, don't worry.
Yeah, by the time you...
And then you get there and okay. Okay, do that. I mean, 2 2s, you have a song, so it's like, oh boy, only book could do that.
But as an artist, Sammy, I mean, the song we're talking about, you know, winning this battle together.
Right.
As an artist and as an individual, what has been your personal responsibility where this COVID-19 is concerned?
Well, the thing about it with this campaign is that, I mean, that's not the first time we as artists have gotten involved. But for me, this time, this one really hits us, you know, as the entertainers.
It is no longer you telling someone else to do something.
That's right.
It is something that you have to practice as well.
This one is, we have to practice all the things that we're saying in the campaign. And, you know, for the health reasons. And financially, we're taking, you know, a very hard hit
responsibility
with
for
that.
your future.
Because we've moved from 6-7 nights a week to 0 nights, you see? And I mean, this is going to impact on all of us in the entertainment business and, you know, those hotel workers. I mean, it's just island-wide, worldwide. It's devastating. You see?
What would you like to see? Well, we have people viewing us from all over the world, not just in St. Lucia. What are some of the things you'd really like to say to persons, specifically our fellow St. Lucians, in terms of understanding that we must be all in where this is concerned?
I've gone on Facebook and I've seen, you know, the crosstalk that goes on. But what I want to say to everybody is that this is something new to all of us. We've never been in a situation like this before. And let us understand that everybody will give their opinion. They'll give their, you know, how they see it. But let's not go chewing up each other because it's not going to help us. Okay? Understand that everybody has an opinion, and that's what it is. But at the end of the day, let us all put our heads together. We're all in. And this is one time, the theme that we had for independence, this really comes alive with this situation we have now. We're all in. We're all in it together. We're all equal now. You know, it doesn't matter whether you're a lawyer, doctor, banker, you know, this COVID virus does not respect anybody. And so I'm saying we must adhere to all the PSAs, the principles that the health practitioners are putting out. We should and must, because at the end of the day, your mistakes or your recklessness will affect all of us, you see? And so I'm appealing to our people, let's stop the infighting. Let's put our heads together. Let's do what it takes. Because at the end of the day, right now, we just cannot do anything else but stay at home and let's break the chain and see if we could stop the spread of this virus.
We have to.
Have you found yourself, Sammy, being more creative? How do you spend a normal day, if there's such a thing anymore, being at home?
Funny enough, I've picked up the guitar again. And so I'm like, oh, you mean that song is that easy to play, you know? So I've rediscovered the guitar and continue, you know, I'm just doing some more writing.
Yeah,
now
I noticed that. You're doing some competition. You pick up my guitar in the studio, what you let by
Because that's what I'm seeing a lot on social media. Despite some of the negatives, you've seen persons who are encouraging you to pick up something new, learn to cook.
That's right.
Read a few books,
Correct.
We have a lot of things that we decided we were going to do in the new year, New Year's resolutions.
That's right.
And by the time January end, we forget about these things, exercising, learning a new trade or something. And, like Bo was saying earlier on, if we're going to win this battle, if we're going to fight this battle properly, there's no room for negativity.
No room for
There's
negativity.
absolutely no
No,
room for
not only that,
negativity.
Tony,
No.
man, we have to get rid of the politics, you know.
Definitely.
And if someone says something that seems to suggest that so and so should have been done, it was not done, don't take it personal. Don't turn it into a political thing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And while I'm at it, man, I really want to commend the Dr. Belma, because
Absolutely.
I can fully understand the pressure that she's under. You know.
I'm not Dr. Bell. Well, credit to
And-
her, but
and her team,
as a
you
whole
know?
team, a whole
Yes,
team. I mean,
yes,
the doctors and
absolutely,
nurses
yes.
who've
Absolutely,
been doing.
absolutely.
you
These
know?
are these are
Yes,
people
yes.
we have to really give a lot of credit because they're on the front line. You know,
Yes.
and
Right.
Yes.
we have to temper what we're saying with some
And the other thing,
common sense. You know.
with the artist getting involved, every artist has his own or her own following.
Yes.
So maybe if you go on my page, I have 7,000 followers on my Facebook page. This is 7,000 I can appeal to. You see, and Boo has another 10,000 on his
Yes.
page.
Yes.
So if every artist advertises on his page, then the message goes out.
Exactly, and they have
Yeah.
different demographics as
And
well.
dem-
Michael
exactly.
Robinson on there.
There you go.
You know, Crystal Bailey, their
Correct.
demographic totally different. And,
Exactly.
you
But
know,
Tony, you know what this has done to me? I always have hand sanitizer in my car, in both cars, always. As soon as I get into my car, as soon as I get home, I go wash my
I could
hands.
testify to that.
This is like a habit I've had for years.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's because when I go to town, everybody's talking to me and shaking my hands. But this now has got me paranoid now.
yes,
So I really wash my hands about 30 times a day. You know?
yes,
And then in this kind of situation, you can't do it too many times.
yeah. It's funny you say that as an artist, you go to town and you have to embrace people and shake
Yeah.
them on to greet
All
you. I was
day,
just
every
watching
day.
Chris Tucker, one of his videos this morning about staying home. He said now no one has to get offended because he's home, no one wants to shake his hands. You know, so-
I'm telling you, man,
Yes.
when I go to town, Sammy will not go to town with me. My
Oh, man,
daughter will not go
very.
to town with me because they know what it is when I walk through town.
You can make 2 steps without somebody stopping it.
Yeah, and you have to be polite every day. So,
Yes.
so I don't want to shun anybody. So I stop. They won't talk to me. I stop. I talk, and everybody's shaking your hand. Sometimes they hug you, and you know. But I'm very aware of that. So I've always had hand sanitizer in my car for years. But this, Tony, this is serious, and I really want to appeal to the St. Lucian to take this thing very seriously. Let us do what we have to do for the sake of our own lives and the lives of each other.
And I
Because
just
what I
want
do can impact your life. And so I must do what is supposed to be done. I must do what I've been told, and everybody else must follow suit.
Well, we're due for a break, that's our second break, and when we come back, we'll get the final thoughts from our guest in studio here with us, His Excellency Ronald Bo Hinkson,
Oh, God.
as well as Semi Francis.
Wash your hands. Wash them right.
With soap and lots of water. Get between fingers. Get under the nails. Go above the wrists. Do this for no less than 15 seconds. Rinse properly. Dry with a clean towel. If there is no water, do the same washing motions with an alcohol-based hand sanitizer containing at least 70% alcohol.
Wash your hands. Wash them right.
This message brought to you courtesy the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us and for joining us right here live at the studios of NTN GIS. In studio, I have with me Ronald Bo Hinkson and Semi Francis. They've just recorded the COVID-19 response campaign song. It also features Teddyson John, Taj Weeks, Michael Robinson, Mishak, Jennifer St. Louis, Krista Bailey. But quite apart from the song, Bo, I know in our conversations, we've often spoken about how things impact people, especially St. Lucians. And there's no doubt that this COVID-19 is going to have a psychological and social impact on our community across boundaries, across class, across creed, race, everything. Just speak to that a little.
Well, I was talking to Sammy the other day, and I was saying to him that I'm wondering if we have taken into consideration the psychological impact this is going to have on people. And some people may need to get some counseling, because we don't want the fact that people have lost employment, and they may not have the financial wherewithal to go through this for a 3-month, 4-month, 6-month period, and what's going to happen to them. We have to pay attention to the psychological damage that is doing to people.
Absolutely.
I also think we, as a country, we need to revisit our labor laws. It is imperative that we do that, because there are too many people complaining about too many things. We need to revisit our food security, and most of all, this tells me a lot about the discipline of our country as a people, because some of the issues the government has had to deal with should not have happened at all, and it is because we are an indisciplined society, and this can determine how we handle this. And this is another issue that we have to address. When this is all over, we need to have a lot of discussions at a national level about how our country is unfolding, because it is important that we take note. All the lessons from this, we must learn them, and we must learn them quickly, because the world is not waiting for us, Tony. You know.
And even as artists, it's now even more imperative that the artists come together, because there's no pension plan for artists. In terms of having some kind of safety net for artists.
Absolutely.
You know, there's no such thing right now. So this is a conversation. Well, you need to move beyond the conversation now to something happening in concrete, you know, to protect your
Absolutely. I think Barbados, in the stimulus package, have included the artists. I think St. Kitts has also. So it would be nice if we had something here, you know. But I want to say, with regards to the song and the campaign, the Dennery segment guys are also going to do a song, and there are also plans to do a video.
Right.
So this isn't all over yet, and it must not stop until we have won this battle. We must put on our breastplate, and put on our helmets, and our weapon must be arming ourselves with information that is accurate.
Right.
Information that comes from the people who know.
Right.
And that is what we must respond to, and that's what we must arm ourselves with if we are to win this war against this COVID-19.
And also, if there's ever a time for us to put St. Lucia first,
Correct.
it is now.
You know, Tony,
it is now.
Ironically, this campaign is just brought back "We're All In." That's what independence.
And even the theme for this year was "Let's do this together."
Absolutely.
You know, tying the two themes together.
Absolutely. And if there's any time that it was most important that we consider ourselves all in, it is now.
And the other thing too is that in this period of downtime, it's a time to reflect, and not only to reflect, but to plan forward.
Yes.
Because we can't get over this and just go back to business as usual. We cannot. So we have to have a plan. How do we move this country forward? And you know, so talking from the government point of view, from citizens, from everybody's point of view, how do you move forward? What are your plans for the future? Because we are going to get over this.
Yes.
We will survive, even if all of us don't come out alive. Civilization will survive, you know, and it's a time for a reset. So
how we come out of it,
that is the
out of the war.
Correct.
It depends on us.
That depends on us and our attitude. So we need to reflect on this very seriously. How are we going to move forward from this point on?
I think, Tony, how we come out of this should force us into deciding, listen, what do I want to be for my country? You know what I'm saying? That is a conversation we need to have with ourselves as individuals. What do I want to be for my country? Because man is a social being, and you're part of a family, you're part of a community, but most of all, you're part of a country. And that country depends on every individual. And so we must determine what it is we want to do for our country. How do we want our country to see us? What kind of contribution do we want to make as individuals?
Correct.
And if this does not make us reflect after we've gotten over this, well, nothing will.
Because I think clearly what we are seeing now is how interconnected we are. If we were not seeing it before,
Exactly.
you know, from the bus driver, sanitation worker
There you
are
go.
interconnected, and we depend on each other.
Exactly.
Our mere survival, in this
we're
situation
all one.
makes us very dependent on each other.
Correct, correct. Because somebody might think, well, okay, I'm not in the hotel industry, but you're not in the hotel industry, you're in real estate.
Yes.
But who's going to buy properties at this point in
Yes.
time?
Yes.
The people working in the industry with looking for homes, looking for rental,
Right.
but they can't afford right now.
Yes, exactly.
And people who have businesses say, okay, well, I have apartments renting, so I'll be okay. I don't. But
Yeah.
the people renting from you can't pay their rent.
Yeah.
You see, so it's a total breakdown.
Yes, yes.
And it shows us that we are all connected. We are one.
And even the different sectors. I mean, watching one of the conversations on social media yesterday where someone was saying, we have bigger things to think about than just Carnival. Someone was talking about Carnival. And then someone was saying, well, we only look at Carnival as the 2 days, the Monday and Tuesday on the road. But how many sectors does
That's
Carnival
correct.
impact?
That's
We have songwriters, security, and how many households just one Carnival impacts
Yes,
in a
yes.
positive way financially. So now I think the opportunity for us, like you guys have been saying, to sit back, to reflect, and there must be a plan going forward. There must be a plan.
Absolutely.
There must be.
It has taught us a lot about interdependence. That is what it has taught us most about.
Must be.
Or rather, it should teach us about our interdependence. And if we don't pay attention, Tony, we're going to be in trouble again.
Absolutely.
The way we this has crept up on us should not happen again to us.
Yes, yes. Because we've had situations, for example, when we had Thomas. After that, you had everybody saying, okay, we help each other, it's going to bring us closer together. But the impact, as bad as it was, is nothing like what we are seeing now.
Yeah, not at all.
Not at
So it was a shorter term, and we got over it quite quickly. We're resilient people, we keep saying that. But the impact of this is more widespread, and we're in this for the long haul.
Everybody is impacted by this. And I mean, even for myself, what I've tried to do to keep myself in a happy mood, because for me, if you take away my smile, I'm in trouble. And so I have to find a reason to smile. And so, I think of, okay, well, let me keep a positive outlook on this. This is going to be over soon. If you look at all the doomsday movies, at the end there's always a bright, it turns out good. So I'm comforted by that. And so you have to find, and then you must find things to do within that time, because otherwise, if you just keep watching the news coming from Italy and New York, it's going to get you depressed. So find things to get your mind thinking and get involved.
And again, as we were saying, when you're doing those things, it'd be good to share some of those things with your followers, because there are some of us out there who really cannot handle this. There are people out there who are depressed, who are confused, they are anxious, and you never know who you might be reaching through your social media platform with a positive message,
and even the message staying home. I mean, it's not easy.
Yeah, because people are being out there to stay home.
We've been home for the last 7 nights. I'm like, what am I going to do?
Being out there every night performing, entertaining people, making them laugh, making them smile.
Wow. I've never spent so much time in my home before. Home is, I've seen too much
discovering colors you've never seen.
The house.
You see things at home, you forgot to have them at home.
I'm telling you, man, and I can only practice so many hours, man.
And it is difficult for a lot of us.
But I'm determined, coming out of this, I'll be a better guitar player.
Yes.
Because that's where my focus will be, to just stay and practice and practice and practice, so that something positive comes out of this for me.
Absolutely.
Of course. So we could expect a lot more music from you.
A lot more music.
From both of you.
Absolutely. It's the right
and
time.
hopefully we could see your royalties skyrocket, most likely.
Well, a lot of different stuff.
You don't want to go there.
You don't want to go there, Tony.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But we have to continue the engagement, gentlemen. We have to continue, inspiring people. I think as creatives, that's part of your role. Yes, you want to do this to make money. You have your mortgages, you have your bills to pay, and what have you. But as creatives, your first and foremost function is that you have a God-given talent, that you're not given it to keep to yourself. You have it to share with the world. And even for this COVID-19 response campaign song, this is your role, to share the message of hope with the wider society.
Absolutely.
So this is a time to not only for you not to give up on yourself, but to inspire others that, hey, I'm not giving
correct,
up. You know, that you're going through.
And I've seen quite a bit of the artists taken to social media and, you know, encouraging,
Yes.
you know, so it's pretty
Yes.
good.
And I think it is important for the populace to see that Semi is going through it too. Boo is going through
Oh,
it too.
yeah,
I'm not in this alone.
exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm home, but I'm not alone. You know, you
That's
have other
right.
people who are in it with you. We're in this together. We're all in this together.
This is why I talk about the interdependence, man. You know,
Mm-hmm,
after this thing is all overthrown, we have a lot of lessons to learn. We better learn them for the sake of our country. I am always focused on country. I am very passionate about St. Lucia and being St. Lucian. And the lessons we must learn, we must not give up on them. We must not, we you know, we mustn't lie to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We mustn't lie to ourselves. And Tony, I must tell you that in my life, I always have meetings with myself, man, you know. I have meetings with myself and I analyze myself and what I think is wrong about me and what I can improve about the person I am. I'm always evolving as a person, all of us. And so I'm always focused on what I have to do for me to grow as a person. But in that growth, you also have to determine how what you do for your own growth affects other people, and in what way it affects them. And so to do that, you have to have meetings with yourself, and you must be brave and bold enough to do that, you know. And you must think of your other fellow human being. You know, I've thought a lot of. There's a young man that I'm mentoring, you know, and he has some challenges, and this is a time I have to, you know, stick with him because I don't know if he has anybody else, you know. And so the things that you and I and Semi are all aware of, he just may not be aware of them. And one day anything can go wrong, man, you know. So this is a time that I have to stick with him because you know, it's just what I have to do.
Now even in this crisis, you know, I don't want to be like doom and gloom, but this crisis will teach us where we have to depend on each other social wise. But there is still the aspect where we are connected via the internet. But what happens when you lose the internet? There's no connection but the people who are immediately in your circle, right? And so you have to learn people's skills, because the kids growing up now, I find them so different than how we grew up.
Yes.
You know, I have my son at home. I mean, this guy, he wouldn't leave his room. He has all his gadgets in there and he's good. That's not how we, you know.
Yes, the social interaction.
The social interaction is not there.
We now talk about social distancing,
Right.
but we have to come back to the
There
point
will be
where
a point
the
where
social
we
we have
need
to maneuver.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, to me, man, I believe in this whole thing. There's a lot that God is teaching us, you know.
I think so.
There's a lot that God is teaching us. And
So when you just brought up God, and when Semi mentioned crisis, it brought me back to a song you wrote many years ago, Christ for the Crisis.
Christ for the Crisis.
You know, that's how many years, that's more than 20 years ago.
more than 20 years,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
and still relevant today, you know. You know, we sometimes I'd be in the hotel performing, and I look at a family of 4, a mother, father, and 2 kids, and everybody's on their phone or on their tablets. And that is social distancing.
Yes, yes.
So, if God has brought you together as a family, and you have the means to come here on a holiday with your whole family, and what you choose to do is to sit there and just disconnect, then it seems to me as though God is telling us, you love social distancing. That's what you love.
So I'm going to give you a dose of that.
I'll give you a dose of that. I'll give you my dose of it, man, you know. So there are a lot of lessons for us to learn today. And you know what? I am beginning to learn to love the quiet. And I'm always on the go, and I'm always in the studio. We'll write a song. I'm sending music for the guys because we're going on tour somewhere, or doing some lyrics, you know, or communicating with Keith and these guys, my people in the States, about my music and so on. And it's like it's a never ending.
All of a sudden, this has just stopped.
Yeah.
Everything has just stopped. So you have to get used to a kind of quiet and a pace that you have not been engaged with for years.
Yes, yeah.
So you have to make a lot of adjustments with your life, and I think I'm liking some of it.
Right.
And so that is a lesson God is teaching me, that you don't necessarily have to be going and going. Sammy always says to me, "Boo, do you ever stop, man?"
You need a downtime. We need a
You
downtime.
need a downtime. And so I'm learning to do that, and I'm hoping that when this is all over, I will discipline myself to go back to that downtime.
Well, guys, we're down to our final moments. It was so good to have you guys here in studio with us, sharing your thoughts and talking about the COVID-19 response campaign song, also sharing some of your smiles with our viewers and our listeners. I know this is quite welcome in this moment that we're having right now, where some of us might be feeling a bit down, but we could still smile, we could still keep our heads above the waters.
Absolutely.
Just final thoughts from you, Sam.
I just want to tell St. Lucians that we will survive. Okay, we will all survive. We'll come out on the other side of things. We'll survive. So whatever you're going through, we will survive. And if you wanna cheer up yourself, you could go and check out some of my music. I've got a lot of stuff there for you guys. All right, I got a message in so many of those songs. I get, so just and you could check out Boo's songs. I mean, there's all the artists. Right now, I think it's a good time to just spend some time going through St. Lucian music.
Yes.
That's a good thing.
That's something to do.
Yes. So let's do that, and let's keep each other in mind. Let's take care of each other. We must protect each other by protecting ourselves.
Okay.
And good luck.
Final thoughts?
I just want to remind everybody of the protocols. Keep your hand sanitizer close. We use it often. Wash your hands. The social distancing. Avoid large gatherings, and take care of yourself. If you take care of yourself, we will be taking care of each other.
That's right.
Because this is of utmost importance. We cannot afford not to take this thing seriously. This is deadly serious, and we will come out of this all right. But we have to think as a nation, and we cannot be selfish. We must be disciplined. Listen to the information that is given to you by the authorities. Do not go listening to rumors like Dr. Belmar said. Stick with what is official. This is what is going to give us the direction that we need to go. I also think we need to, whoever your God is, pray, man. Turn to your God. We probably don't all have the same God, but whoever your God is, seek some guidance.
Well, a good point to end on, gentlemen. Thank you for being here with us today at our command center right here at NTN GIS. We've been speaking with Honorable Hinkson and Semi Francis, and we also had Natasha Lloyd Felix with us earlier on, talking about a COVID-19 response campaign song, and also getting their views, their thoughts on, what is happening with us as a society as we join hands, as we come all in and battle this COVID-19 war together. Thanks for joining us, and do remember to stay tuned. Don't switch your dial. Stay tuned to NTN GIS all day long as we're giving you coverage as to what is happening, and of course we're sticking strictly with the facts. Thank you for joining us here today. Do have yourself a good day.